that I slept to 12:30, 1:05 a.m. I was exhausted after yesterday. Exhausted. I'm waiting on 2 services to connect. I'm probably going to keep my mic muted tonight. But there's some smoky smell in the air, and it's irritating my throat, and I'm coughing at times. I don't like coughing or sneezing or doing anything on camera. I feel like it's unprofessional. Of course, I'm not going to have the camera open either, although you can see me moving there. That is a gray lens cover. It's actually too big for this computer, though. I gotta get some smaller ones. Some things are hard to get now. Ever since Corona. And them 2 services ain't never connecting. I don't know if they're online or not. Got one more left. Oh yeah, it says it's online. Okay, we're all online now. Okay. I'll try to leave the mic muted. I'm not deciding. Maybe there's some Pac-Man. I was playing Pac-Man on the big TV today, or not the big TV, but it's big compared to this computer. It's 32. We only have 32 inches now. I had one that was bigger. It was like 39, and that particular TV has some issue with one of its processors, or something to do with the power, and mine went bad. About a year into having the TV, or something like that, and it went bad. It was nearly 40 inches. So the biggest television I've got now is a 32 inch. Okay, there's Space ET, and then there's Pac-Man. We'll do some Pac-Man. I was able to beat the 1,000 score today, and I got on the 3rd level. So now it's reset now that it's been unplugged. So I've got to beat it again. I thought I said it was unplugged. I forgot how I done it. I done something. Hey, there's many bubbles and possible recent doses several times. They just about won't let you do it. There you go. That's the one that I got it too. Oh, I got him. I was trying to get the tree, but I don't know if I'll get the tree. I finally lost my first Pac-Man. These games are meant to play with controllers, so I would play on them. I'm not good on them. Although I do have trouble at times. Going through those little words. I don't play too well on that little handheld. Although he does get stuck. Oh, that red thing went right where I needed to go. I'm going to start putting some videos on. I ran right into me. On my BitChute and some on my UZ because I want to make use of both sites. In other words, I'm going to have some videos on BitChute that aren't on YouTube, and some videos that are on YouTube that are not on BitChute, just to support both of my channels that are non-big tech. I'm still on YouTube too, of course, but I'm usually live streaming there. I don't upload to. I'm still going to use big tech as long as it's able there to use, because that's what it's there for. But at the same time, I don't like them because of how they control people. They really should not have the right to do that. Indeed, they are to be regulated like a utility company. Because that's what they are. They are a utility. They may be a cyber utility, but they're still a utility. I only got a 3990 score there. If you think about it, though, they really are just a utility. And that appealing that Facebook has set up is not worth the paper it's printed on. You want to know why it's not worth the attorney's ass that come out of? Because this is the United States of America, and we already have a right. We don't need a foreign body made up of companies to make our decisions. We got a constitution. You got that, Zuckerberg? Your little appeals thing is worthless. Somebody ought to sue your ass. Because you are not protected. You're not protected by 213. That's not protected what you do. Just some reason other people in courts have allowed you to get by with it. I wish you'd run into the right judge. In Jesus' name, amen. That will throw the book at you. Because you people are violating the Constitution of the United States of America, and you know it. And you're not protected by 213, because you're acting as a publisher. And that was what you was protected from. And because you're acting as a publisher, you're not protected. And you know it. And if you act like a publisher, you are to be able to be sued like a publisher. For everything that's on stuff. When somebody goes out and uses your service for ill harm, like stirring up riots, you ought to be liable for that. Especially Twitter. Twitter's been used for that a lot. They destroyed whole countries like Libya on Twitter. With the same kind of garbage that's going on here in the United States in our streets right now. Especially the Ukraine. They use those tactics in the Ukraine. I finally got that thing. But if you're not held accountable in the court of law, you can be held accountable by God. And I am still praying. I haven't backed off that. Indeed, I did about a 30-minute session tonight. I'm going to try to do that every day. I'm going to pray at 30, like Rodney says. Because y'all have destroyed a lot of people's livelihoods. This ain't just play. It may not be really meaning anything to me. It does, because it's violating my right. But it's not destroying my livelihood. Some people you have literally taken their financial ways away from them, which is what you tried to do. Which is probably why you're kind of slow on me anyway. Because you know you're not going to hurt me. But you're going to find out you messed with the wrong one. Because you messed with the one that's willing to play it through. God allowed me to learn all this stuff this year for a reason. And I'm going to use what I've learned. And I'm not going to let my woes or what I think is not right get in the way of that. Because sometimes it does hinder. Because Satan comes and whispers, "You're not good enough for God." We don't have to be. What he did, it was finished. I'm not going to listen to that word. And I'll keep praying for justice until I get it. Not just for me, though. For all those people that I name in my podcast. Who you've cut down without right. Just for using their right to free speech. And I'm going to pray it through. The only way it won't happen is it's not his will. And I don't see why it wouldn't be his will. I mean, it ain't like y'all people are doing anything godly. It says there's blessings and cursings from messing with his people. And he chose a curse. I don't care whether people think I'm crazy. Think it. People thought John the Baptist was crazy. Jesus said there went the greatest man that ever lived. See, there's religion in the kingdom. But you never know, you might have been meant to cross me. But sometimes God allows little Davids to be around. Just to take on Goliath. He likes doing that, because he gets the victory. Because you can't do it. It has to be him. And no prayer is ever a waste with God. There's one that helps build your faith. Even if it don't go like I pray it. Because he's going to do what he wants to do. A lot of people give up because of that. Because they don't get exactly what they ask. They got to remember, it's always got to be his will. I'm not going to give up there. Because there was nothing I did wrong. Just by saying a man wasn't what they was calling him. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, it could be he got me for my insults, but that's his service, so therefore it wasn't issuable. I've got the right to call him whatever I want to call him. That's my right as a person. Because he's not really a good person, if you want my opinion. He's a lowlife. Anybody who does people like these people are doing are lowlife. Authoritarian lowlife. Oh! Almost got you, almost got me. He's going to get me anyway, like. He's right on my tail. Woo! Okay. I got the chair. I got the chair. Like I said, this harassment started in 2003 whenever I started standing up against the illegal immigration here in Dalton. And harassment started immediately. It started this first Mexican. He had this big ass truck, and he had a huge thing. Huge black truck, and it had the loudest old engine. He'd drive by my house. And he'd have all kinds of wild parties and everything. We'd call the police, and he'd stop when they'd get there. And that was how it all started. He had a big ass truck, and it was old type. It was big, it was a huge one. Huge black ass truck. Old type. My daddy went out in the middle of the night in his jockey shorts one time and got on to him because he had to get to work. The son of a bitch. It started just like that. That son of a bitch harassed us the whole time he was here. But I haven't backed down once, now have I? It don't do them any good. I don't back down. All I did before then was sit back and mope and complain about it in recordings. But then I started actually taking action. I started supporting people that were working on stopping it financially, writing Congress, voting on it, based on it, everything. I quit just sitting back and not taking action. But they didn't like it either, and I started voicing my opinion. Real, and not just complaining about it amongst the house and karaoke recordings. I probably shouldn't have sung anyway because they songs. Like 1 in a Million. That's just a race bait song. First of all, it doesn't even distinguish between an immigrant and an illegal alien. And there is a difference. Immigrants come here the right way. If I'd been writing a song, I would have specified in the house. I wrote several. Indian. Welcome to the New America. I later on added a K to it. I didn't originally have the K in it. That was just how I re-released it. I released it on the box set. I put the K in it. So that's the America they're trying to create. And I got to thinking about that movie back then. I actually found it and watched it. The one they put out on television, the America with the K. That's really their goal. And it still is their goal. They just remembered it a little bit. Marxism is always their goal for this country. Instead of using the Soviet Union, they're using China. Then they want to talk about Russian collusion like it matters about anything. No, this Chinese collusion, man. Big tech, Big tech and little China, as I called them right before I was down on Twitter. Big tech and little China, because it is little. But them people are little. I'm talking about those people that are in charge. They're little minds, they're little minded, and they're little compared to Jesus Christ. They are little compared, they are little fleas, is what they are, fleas. They're fleas in their mind, too. They might be big, those fleas, he might be big. He's still little. He's little, he's itsy bitsy. He's nothing. And everything he's doing to those poor people, he's going to reap for eternity. And he'll weep, and he'll gnash his teeth, and the worm will die tonight. Just like his others, like Mao, and Hitler, and Stalin, and all the other garbage. Done humanity like this, they're already building it. They're already begging for their drop of water. They're already begging for their drop of water. And I pray for those people in China. I pray for God to free them. And even though George Soros uses illegal aliens to torment my part of the country, I pray for Mexico. I pray for Mexico to get them a Donald Trump. And every other country gets suppressed. A Donald Trump arises and is allowed to kick their booties. Like Brazil. I pray for sixth revolution without change. For it's worldwide. Y'all got to remember, yes, in some ways it's going to be God's will for that new world order to come. But it's only so he can defeat the devil. It's not because he likes those people. It's not because he wants them to do that evil. They choose to do that evil. You see, they made their choices just like any Christian makes their choice to serve God. And yes, it's his will. It's in his Bible. But he doesn't really will it that way. Man's will. Don't blame God for it. Any of it. He just has a plan to deal with it. He just has a plan to deal with it. Now this kid, dang it. It disappeared before I could get to it. I really wanted to play more of the Resident Evil tonight, but I've got my little game player up under that table, and I'll have to move the table back out to get it. The only reason I had it is because I had to move that table. Yeah. I thought, well, I've been wanting to play the Resident Evil, so I got it. And I was actually shocked that PlayStation was in as good shape as it's in, because my room, you let, like, just say my keyboard there. You open it out of the box, take the plastic off of it. You look at it the next day with all this traffic. It's, especially if it's black, it's got dusty specks on it. No matter what you do, no matter how many times you dust, with all that traffic, you've always got the damn dust. And that PlayStation, it looked pretty good, and the controller had collected some dust. It's a blue controller, boy. You never can get away from that old dust. Never. It's right up under my TV stand, and actually it's an end table. It's a lamp end table is what it is. We got them. And I used it for a little television at the time. Little television I got given until when we had our tragedy that guy all took care of us, by the way. Brought me back to him. All that goodness he gave me. Yeah, and all that, because I'd sort of gotten away from him. Y'all, I might have went away. God didn't. He answered all my prayers during that. That hell of a year we went through. So in a way it was good. It was just like to 2020. Even though 2020's been bad, it's been good spiritually for me. I learned a lot of stuff. But I usually spent most of it with him. What I wasn't video gaming, I only do like 20 to 40, 30, and that's on it. Divide that up several times a day, it might turn into an hour or two. But there's a whole 24-hour period. And the majority of it I was spending it doing other things. Even though it was a bad year, and we did have some times where we couldn't find some things. But overall, God took care of us good. Like those times the toilet paper got scarce. A lot of times all we'd have to do is pray about it, and we'd go look for it, and there it was. It really was like that, y'all. I'm telling y'all. We'd pray about it, and there it was. And then there's times you couldn't get certain items of food. But we had less of that. Some of my family had it worse than we did. Like meats and stuff. We had a couple times where we couldn't get it, but most of the time God was good though. We had several times where it was getting hard. Now, we didn't like all this shutting down and all those rules and regulations and all those crap. It's not American. And I'm glad several courts have already ruled that way. But it basically goes on another. If somebody took it, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on. You know what I'm saying? That's why they didn't push it with Rodney, and they knew it. That's what saved Florida. That's what saved them. You see, that's what I'm talking about. That's why God needs a little David out here. He works that way. That's the way he works. He likes using these people that have no real authority to take down the authority. Don't quote the Romans 13. That's misquoting. That's talking about rebelling. And rebelling is a different thing. That's like the idiots on the street that don't want no government. That's what he's talking to. The anarchist. That's what Romans 13 is. It wasn't so people would, especially in this country. You gotta know who Caesar is. Who the authority is, it's us. They have no rights to rule us like they do. They're supposed to be there to provide our local area because somebody has to be in charge. And our state. And the government, please, is to take care of national issues. Which cities then burned at the hand of George Soros is a national issue. And he really ought to be arrested. That was another thing I did during the week that I was bound. I prayed the prayer that he lived long enough to see himself go through jail and even prison. Because he's snub, he thinks he ain't never going to be caught. And I want God to bring him down. I want him to actually get in the tub, sit in prison, go to trial, and I want him to live to be sentenced. And actually at least serve a day or two of sentence, even if he drops dead. That's what my prayer is. I'm still praying that one as well. He's still alive, and I'm still alive to pray it. You know what? Even if I wasn't still alive to pray it, the prayer's done been said. It can't be put back in the box. It can't be put back in the box because I done prayed it. It's a good prayer, Lord. I have to give it that. Because he's done a lot of damage, including to his own people. He sold them out to Hitler. It's a wonderful prayer. It's a beautiful prayer of retribution for everybody he's ever wronged. A beautiful prayer of him because it would lower him. I mean, that would really kill him to go to sentenced and go to prison at least a day or two. Even if he died in prison a few days later, I'd be happy. I just want him to live long enough to be sentenced and see it all. I've asked God to bless him a little more life so he could be tried and sentenced. I want to see him sentenced. Now, it would take God to get that to happen because he controls everything behind the scenes. Even old Glenn Beck had a show on that years ago about how he controls things with money attached to everything. But you see, guess who owns this planet? And guess who owns the resources? And guess who owns the people? And guess who owns the countries? And guess who owns the continents? And guess who owns the space? It's that Jesus. One Jesus. And that's who I'm asking. He owns everything. George Soros just thinks he owns everything. And he's already set himself up for failure anyway because he acts like he's a guide. That alone brings a curse and wrath on himself. God don't like that. God don't like that one bit. He won't compete. He doesn't compete. And all the people bashing Trump has been the Christian's best friend. I don't care what you think about what he's doing in Israel and this and that. He's been the best friend of Christians. But he's not your religious leader anyway. He's your country's leader. We were told to pray for good times with that. We were to pray for peace with that. He would have done had a whole lot more war had it not been for Trump. They scared to mess with him because they know he'll act. I think they have hurt me a little bit live. I don't think I've been in more years anymore. But my videos are still getting used. Thank the Lord for that. But you know what? I'm not going to go off the live. One person would probably say, well, you're just sitting there streaming to yourself. What's the point? Pete Santilli, he did a show from D-Live, and I'm on D-Live right now. I believe he said it was on D-Live. He's somewhere. He might not have been on D-Live, but he started out, and at first he was his only listener. And then his audience built up. I'm going to keep streaming it whether people tune in or not. Because they watch my videos, I usually get the same amount of views. And I did lose maybe a few numbers when they took my Twitter away. But I've been going on Galb and making up for that. Of course, for some reason I don't use Galb more than I have. And I got to give it to them. They just about got some of those things straightened out. I couldn't even get logged in most of the time. But then one of the users explained to me a way that you could get around that. So I didn't know what was going on. Then I just gave up and just go on and sign on Twitter. I'm hoping I can build my audience or my subscribers up there. I've already got to 130 something. I had 800 and I believe 50, some 47, somewhere around there. Like I sat on 300 for a long time. For years, really. Sat on 300. Then this year, I guess because people were locked down, it went to 400, then it was 500, then it was 600, then it was 700, and finally I got to 800. They took my count away. I'm praying for 1,000 on the Galb because they took away 800. I would just jump for joy in Jesus if it was more than 1,000. I've only asked for a little bit. I hadn't asked big. I should have asked big. I think they have hurt me live streaming though, because I used to sort of see some viewers. Of course, Periscope, you know, Periscope was linked with Twitter. And people seen you on, you know what I'm saying? On these sites, you have to usually be logged into them. Like D-Live and Twitch, and there are so many users out there, y'all. A lot of people get discouraged and go away because they can't get any attention. Like there's millions of people streaming, and it's different types of content. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to belch on the camera. There's different content. But a lot of it's gaming. So you got to compete with all that. But on Twitter, you know, it wasn't necessarily just where people just log into it just to watch whoever's channel they're logging in for. It's a place where people look to news, talk, communicate with each other. That's why it's a utility, y'all. Wish I could find an attorney to be willing to take my case. I know I'd sue him. Section 230 doesn't protect them for what they do. So if you're out there and you hear and you want to do a suit and you want somebody to stick with you and won't turn on you and this and that, go with me. Because I'm telling you, I don't back down. A lot of people back down. I don't back down. I never back down. They used to threaten to take me out of my home at school. And that's pretty bad when they're talking about taking you and putting you in their home. That's like putting you in a prison. I don't back down, y'all. They're not covered for what they're doing. And I'm not scared of their attorneys either. I don't fear attorneys. I wouldn't fear them if they start talking to me. I just tell them to go to hell. Like I do all the time. I tell people to go to hell. And I don't think nothing about it. I don't care what their name is. I don't care if they're president. I don't care if they're pauper. I don't care if they're prince. I don't care if they're a queen. I don't care who they are. I tell them to go to hell. Because, see, I'm protected in this United States of America. I can do that. We don't live under a king. We don't live under a dictatorship. And I know why God had me here, because I would have been in trouble anywhere else. Now, I don't fear the pocketbook. I just see another human being. I just see another human being who can live and die just like I can, and who can get sick, and who can take cancer, and who can take heart problems, and who can do all this because their money cannot save them. And they're just like me. They can die. And I'm not saying I'm wishing that. I'm saying they're just people. We're all just people, human beings. And it don't matter whether you got $1. It don't matter whether you're poor on the street, or whether you're in big houses and all over the world. You're still just a man, and I don't fear you. I don't fear you. Or a woman. I don't fear Hillary Rodham. Or Nancy Pelosi. Or Maxine Waters. Indeed, I prayed a little prayer about her last week. Some of the people in the public probably know it because I did it outside. Which I shouldn't really do for public, because it says that's all you'll get. But you know something, you're talking about public figures. So I guess that would be a different thing. I guess that'd be the same as going up to Moses and telling him to let my people go. When you're talking about people like that. He just said not to do things for show. That's really what he's talking about. Don't pray just to look holy. I don't ever do that, y'all. Indeed, I always think too low of myself. That's what I was saying earlier about how I'm going to just pray it through. Because my brain can go there and get I'm going to bring him up here. Yes, he will. He loves it when we pray to him. He loves it, Satan. Oh, yes, he loves it. He wants us to pray to him. He wants us to be dependent on him. I got one. Woo! We got two. I never will be, Satan. Not until that day. I just tell you what it's like. And he does that. He did it to Jesus. He gave it to him about a world that's really his, trying to give him his world back. Because he controlled it at the time. But he was trying to give him his freaking world back. That had to be a funny moment. I just think here you got this old creature telling the Creator that he's going to give him his kingdoms back. The creature telling the Creator. That's like one of my songs. Walking up to me and telling me what to do. You know what I'd do to that song? I'd erase it. I'd destroy it. Or a drawing that I used to draw a lot. I don't draw much anymore. That's what's on the computer blocks. Computer drawings. I don't draw with the hand anymore. Should have never quit. Like you're freaking drawing. Talking to you. I'm telling you what to do. That had to be a funny moment. I'm actually walking up to Jesus and offering him his kingdoms just because he was hungry. He thought he could burn. You see, that's why he wants us weak. That's what he does. He weakens us, and then he's wanting us to bow down to him and give us his authority. Give us our authority to him. Because God gave the human some authority. And no, he didn't just give the few authority. He gave it to all of us. That's what the politician likes you to believe. They want you to believe that you're theirs and they got all the authority and you're nothing. And that was the United States where it was different. You see, it didn't do that. Oh yes, it made it easier for corporations to make lots of money, and now those corporations want to rule us. But they don't really have the authority. And then in America, you see, you're not even really violating Romans 13 by standing up to them. Because you're just taking your authority that's already yours. It's yours. And here it's actually grantable by God to have it. You already had it anyway, but you know, when you're kind of in a country where you kind of are subject to the king, you really are. So it's like he told them in 1 Samuel. Was it chapter 9? I've done forgot the chapter, but it's one of the chapters in 1 Samuel. They don't want a king; they'll be subjects to it. Go tell them this, and he goes back and he tells him, and they won't fine. I'll give you a king. But America actually got out from under the king. Now, where America made the mistake, and it's not really a big mistake, because they just made it where we could choose which God we serve, which might be good for us, but it was basically bad on one thing, because if they had wanted God's 100% blessing, they would have gave it back to God. You see, they would have gave that power that the Israelites traded for a king back to Jesus. They did sort of do that. They just done it in a manly way, where they got to decide where they worship Jesus or not. You see what I'm saying? I got it immediately. When I read Samuel, I got what happened here in the United States of America. I've read it before, but I mean, I paid attention. My ears are more attentive now. I hear things that I didn't used to hear. I see things that I didn't used to see. And I got it. I got it 100%. The Israelites traded it and were subjects to the king, so they wanted a king. And when the United States of America come on, they decided they didn't want the king, so they got rid of the king. But when they come up to the drawing the Constitution, they put it back to God, but they put it down to let men decide who they serve. You see what I'm saying? So they sort of gave it back to God, but they didn't completely give it back to God. They kept it in our control. But you know what? In some ways, if you read the Bible, he's that way too. He says there's choices of life, death, blessings, and cursings. And he always told you to choose life. So in a way, they just put it back biblically. I mean, really, they didn't completely give the authority back to God, though. Of course, then you would have had to serve God. If they had gave it back to God, you would have been back to the subject to God. It would have been a good thing. It'd been beautiful. I guess you'd still be covered though, because the cross. The one beautiful thing about the cross is it made up for what we couldn't do. It paid the debt. As long as you're faithful, as long as you stay under Him, and as long as you let Him lead your life, things will go good for you, or things will go better for you, because some still run into sometimes where it's hard, but then you have Him to go with you, so He's going with you. But, see, back in the old days, it wasn't paid for. And you had to present a lamb every year, and whatever it was. Was it 4 years or every year? I'm fuzzy right now, so I'm kind of sleepy. Getting sleepy. I think I'm all in. I had a good stream. Yammered in the background of it. Yammer my thoughts. I do that a lot. I think it. And may God bless y'all. So sometimes I do babble. And people watch anyway. And I decided to mix the podcast with the gaming. You know, sometimes if you were just sitting here and you didn't have an audience, and if I see somebody chat and I can actually see it, I'll try to respond to people. And I always try to follow them back to if they follow me. Sometimes I'll follow people even if they haven't followed me, just for taking their time, for having something to do with me. I respect that. Because I know I'm nobody. I don't think I'm anybody. But at the same time, I am somebody. It's just that's just how I feel. We're all somebody. God, even the lowest person, is somebody to guide. He cares about all of them. He cares about them evil people. They just forfeit it. But He cared about them because he'd done the same thing for them as He done for us. They just don't accept it. Where I'm gonna face a problem is sometimes my heart ain't there when it comes to some of them people, especially depending on what they do. Like, I can forgive little things. I usually do. When it becomes really big things, it gets harder. I get down into their level, the hate level. And that's one thing I'm praying about. To God to soften that. Because I really want to be right with God on every level. Sometimes my brain just can't get past that. Because my brain thinks that I don't want to harm anything. But everybody ain't like me. That's just what, and I'm talking about anything. Like, I don't even really want to hurt, say, an animal or anything like that. Some reason I never did think of insects. But even their lives, they're living creatures too. They just look scary, some of them. Some of them are pretty. Got butterflies, and I've seen other bugs I thought was pretty. The lightning bug, I love its light. I'm telling y'all, when I was a little kid, I ain't done that in a long time. I just sat and watched the lightning bugs. Long time. Of course, with all the lights, it's kinda, back then it was darker. You seen them better. They were amazing. Their little lights, lighting up the night. I could just sit and watch those for hours out on the porch or outside in the yard. Or even out the window. I used to sit and watch the door. We had a sliding door that was fully glass, and I'd watch them fly by it. Back when this was a small town, you didn't have all the lights everywhere. Beautiful. I used to sit and wait the sunset so I could see every summer. See them lightning bugs. Beautiful creatures. They got their little red spot or something down their back or head or whatever. I used to hate it when you'd kill them though, because they'd have an old smell, that old smell. Sometimes you'd accidentally kill one, you'd think it was another insect, and you'd realize it was a lightning bug. You saw its little goofy yellow bug go out. But when it was flipped up, you couldn't tell what it was till you learned to identify it. I killed a few of them before I learned to identify them. Well, I'll get off from here. Thank y'all for listening. If yes, I don't know. I'll try to get up that Resident Evil. I can play it on the PS3, but I can't play it with the cheats. The PS3, the GameStop won't work in the PS3. It won't even load, I don't think. It won't even turn on. Have a good Sunday.